So we already have seen uh, different types of amplifier circuits like common source, common drain, common gate amplifiers, and what are the different gains associated with those amplifiers. At the same time, the input and output impedance or resistance, whatever you say. Okay. Now, I also said in my previous slides that there are four parameters that are very important for amplifier design. One is the gain, obviously, the voltage gain, the current gain, the input resistance, and the output resistance. Apart from this, you also need the transconductances, which is also very important, like output voltage by input current, output current by input voltage, transconductance, and trans resistance. These are also important. So based on application, you use either voltage gain or current gain, or this boosting of transconductance or trans resistance. And at the same time, you also need to know what is your input resistance, what is your output resistance, because at the end you are going to attach two circuits together, or you are going to attach a load with your amplifier, right? So today we have another type of amplifier which is known as cascade amplifier. So in this case, we use different MOSFETs in order to get some sort of benefit, and what kind of benefit we are getting we will be discussing as we progress in this particular topic. So just to give you an idea at initial stage, we already have said that we have a bandwidth called WT, which is GM by Cin, right? We already have shown this bandwidth concept previously, and in that slide I said that there is a term called gain bandwidth product. Now this gain bandwidth product is always constant. What does that mean? That essentially means if you increase your gain, you probably will lose your bandwidth, or if you increase your bandwidth, you are going to lose the gain. So if any of them associated with the circuit is increased, then you are going to compromise on the other side. In that case, in gain bandwidth product, the minimum gain you would prefer is 1, because if it is less than 1, then obviously it's no longer an amplifier, and further it is going to reduce the magnitude of the signal, output signal. So in this case, we need to break this law of gain bandwidth product, and we'll try to figure out a circuit which can give us a higher bandwidth without affecting the gain, right? So let us see what is this circuit, and as I analyze, I will keep on explaining you. So the cascade amplifier, typical cascade amplifier is shown here. This is the circuit wherein you have capital I. This is a current source biasing. So this capital I is a DC biasing, which ensures that M1 and M2, these two MOSFETs, are always in saturation. Remember, we are operating all the devices in saturation in case of MOSFET. However, in case of BJT, it was in active region. Remember, in BJT it is not saturation. In BJT, the saturation region is what more or less is linear in case of MOSFET. So it's reverse, right? But in case of MOSFET, we operate all the devices in saturation. So we put a DC bias in M2, and the input signal is in the transistor or MOSFET M1. Okay. As this particular transistor or this particular MOSFET is associated with the gain, so we call this as driver. Okay. And this MOSFET we call as load, kind of. So it's not associated with in fact, I should not say it's not associated with the gain or primary operation, but just for an argument, let us keep it as M2 as load. Okay, CL is your load capacitance value. Okay, and we have a AC output, say V01, between M1 and M2. So this is the drain of M1 and source of M2. Okay. All right. Now, what is our objective in this case? Our objective is to find the GM effective GM value and GO effective GO value. GO value is the output conductance. So basically what I am saying is, you are trying to figure out what is the value of GM of this whole circuit and what is the output resistance. You can say this as RO effective. So GO effective is basically reverse reciprocal of RO effective, right? And what is your beta value? Beta value is GMR0 and your WT is GM by Cin. Okay, these are the typical values we have already derived in case of MOSFET. So beta is your gain, WT is your bandwidth, right? So we have to see that we are not losing the bandwidth while we are increasing the gain, or vice versa. If we can decouple these two, our job is done. So for that purpose, you can see that GM is a common factor in both. So finding GM effective is required. However, RO effective is also important, right? That is also very important. That's why our first objective is to figure out what is GM effective and what is GO effective. Let us start with GM effective. Now, let us consider GM1 and GO2 are the transconductance and output conductance associated with M1, this MOSFET. And GM2 and GO2 are the transconductance and output conductance associated with M2. Now, as per network theorem, the two-port network that we always show, we also have given you a circuit equivalent in previous cases, right? So if we go by this network theorem, we can easily say that your total current I is equal to GM effective into V in and GO effective into V0, right? See, what is your current? Current is always V by R. So 1 by R is basically your G, conductance. So conductance into voltage is giving you the current. So conductance into voltage and conductance into voltage. This conductance into voltage is in your input side. This conductance into voltage is in your output side. Okay, it's a simple two-port network concept. Okay. Then V01, I already have shown here. It is AC. Okay. This V01 is a drain voltage of M1. So for M1, this is drain, this is source, this is gate. For M2, this is gate, this is source, this is drain. So your V01 is drain voltage of M1 and the same thing is the source voltage of M2. Is that clear? So remember, V01 is drain voltage for M1, source voltage for M2. Now, if I write down this equation 1, which I just have shown you, that I equal to GM effective V in plus GO effective V0. From this equation for AC analysis, okay, this is your equation number 1. Now, from equation 1, if you consider V0 is equal to 0, this term will go 0. Then your V in is I divided by GM effective. So if you want to figure out what is GM effective, what you have to consider? You have to consider V0 equal to 0. Similarly, if you want to figure out what is GO effective, what you should consider? Vn equal to 0. So if Vn equal to 0, your GO effective is I divided by V out. And similarly, if your V0 is equal to 0, your GM effective is I divided by V. Okay, simple, very simple relation. And for AC, your VGS2, what is VGS2? VGS of the second MOSFET M2 is equal to 0 minus V01. What is the AC value in this terminal, gate terminal of M2? 0. The AC value is 0. VREF is a DC biasing, so there is no AC. So if I only consider AC analysis, your GS of M2 will be minus V01. Why minus? Because your GS means VG minus VS. What is VG? It is 0. What is VS? It's V01. So ultimately you get minus V01. That's why 0 minus V01 is minus V01. At the same time, what is your VGS1? V in, because in this case your VG is V in and your VS is 0. So it is V in, right? So it is clear, right? And you already have seen how we define how we define GM effective and GO effective. Let us start with GM effective. In case of GM effective, consider V0 equal to 0. What does that mean? The AC voltage as output is 0. Okay. What is your VDS value for M2? This is drain, this is source. So if you check your VDS value, this is nothing but 0, because this I already have considered 0, and this is V01. So it's 0 minus V01, which will be minus V01. Clear? Similar as I have explained just now for this VGS2. Similar in this case as well. Once this is 0, this is V01. So this minus this is minus this. This minus this is minus this. V01. Okay. What is your VDS for M1? Again same. VDS for M1 is, this is D for M1, this is S. Now what is the value at D? 0, 1. What is the value at S? 0. So ultimately you have V01. Clear? Let's progress. Now you write down the equation, separate equation for M1 and M2. What is your I value? Keep your equivalent circuit in mind. That will really help you in understanding this. What is the value of I in this case? I is GM1 V in plus GM1 is the transconductance of MOSFET 1 into V in. V in is VGS, right? If you remember these circuits, you remember this is VGS, and what is the total current you used to calculate? It's VGS, GM into VGS. So this is same, GM into VGS. In this case, VGS is equal to V in, right? For M1. This is for M1. So your VGS is equal to V in. GS1 is equal to V in. Plus, in the output side, similarly, V01 into V01. Why? You can see for M1, VDS value is, this is common source configuration. So your DS value is output. So your VDS AC value is V01. So this is the equation for M1. Similarly for M2, you will find GM2 minus V01, because for M2 it is minus V01, so you put minus V01, and at the output your VDS value is also minus V01, so it's GO2 minus V01. Okay, so let us take this equation to the next slide. So I have just written the other 2 and 3, equation 2 and 3 here, that I just derived or just have written. So what is the value of V01 from this equation 3? If you take V01 in common, you will find GM2 plus G02 as a factor, which will come in the denominator of I, and this minus sign will transfer there. So your V01 is minus I divided by GM2 plus G02 from equation 3. Put this value in equation 2. You have V01, right? So I equal to GM1 plus V in plus G01 into this value. Okay, nothing complicated, just replacing the value, substituting the value. So once you substitute the value, what you will get, take this I term in one side, you will find I equal to 1 plus G01 plus GM2 plus G02 is equal to this one, GM1 Vn. Okay, so you have currently the GM effective as I divided by V in. We already have considered in this case V0 equal to 0, and then we came in this equation, we found this equation. So your GM effective will be I divided by V in, which is GM1 divided by the entire term in the left hand side. This is your GM effective, right? So you got your GM effective value. Let us simplify this a bit. So your GM effective, just now we have seen it is this value. So if you just simplify this whole expression, you will find it is GM1 into GM2 plus GO2, then GO1 GO2 plus GM2. This is your expression. Now what is the output resistance of the MOSFET? Usually they are very high, right? So R01 and R02 or R01 or R02, whatever you call it, both are very high because they are output resistances of the MOSFET associated with the cascode circuit. If they are very high, what will be the value of G01? This is 1 by R01, so definitely G01 will be, or GO1 will be very less. Now if it is very less, G02 will also be very less. Then you can ignore these terms, and if you ignore these G output terms, you will find it is GM1 into GM2 divided by GM2. Cancel it out. You find that your GM effective is essentially equal to GM1, very close. Even if you consider this equation, and calculate, you will find that GM effective value and GM1 value are more or less same, very less difference is there between these two values. But in this case, ignoring those terms, we got GM effective is equal to GM1. So remember, the GM value of your cascode circuit is equivalent to the GM value of your driver MOSFET. Your M1 is the driver MOSFET. So you can call it, the GM value is more or less equal to the driver MOSFET. Okay, so GM effective is done. Let us go to the GO effective. Okay, in the output side, GO effective. So again I am revising. The equation 1 is this. Now if you want to figure out GO effective, you just put V in equal to 0. What does that mean? Short circuit the V in. V in equal to 0 means you just short circuit the V in, and whatever high value you will get, divide it by V0, that is your GO effective. Simple as that. In fact, in network, you have done it probably a lot of time. Similar type of solution. So for AC analysis, just like previous case, you have I for M2, your I will be GM2 into minus V01. I already have discussed why it is minus V01. Then you have GO2 in this case is equal to V0 minus V01, because now this is not equal to 0. Previously we considered V0 equal to 0, your output voltage equal to 0. Now it is not equal to 0. So what was previously we said, your VDS value is 0 minus V01, but in this case now it is not 0, so it will be V0 minus V01. So that is exactly what I have written. And for this one, your input is grounded. So what is your VGS1 value? 0. Your input is 0. And what is the value of VDS? The output one, it's V01 minus 0, so it's V01. same you got the another expression for I. Now why these I's are always I kept equal? Because same current is flowing, right? Same current is flowing through both the transistors. So I can keep I equal for both the transistors. In previous case also I kept it equal. Now somebody may think, what happened to this I? This I is the DC bias. This I came for the DC bias. We are doing AC analysis. So any DC thing we are ignoring, right? So this won't come in this analysis. So many people may think that where did those bias went in your analysis? In every analysis you will find we have not considered the DC bias, because DC bias is only to keep the transistors in saturation. Why bias is required? Bias is required to decide the mode of operation of these devices. We have to make sure that devices are in saturation in case of MOSFET. That's why we put a DC bias. Here also the purpose is same. But in the analysis we won't consider the DC bias. Please remember that. So in this case, from equation 5 you have V01 is equal to I by G01. Replace the value of V01 in here with this expression, and you will find your I value is Gm2 by G01 into I minus plus G02 V0 minus G02 I by G01. This is from equation 4 after replacing the value of V01. So it's again simple algebra. So this is the equation that just now I've shown. Take I common in this and this term. So you will get I equal to this, and in the right hand side you will have G02 V0. So your GO effective will be I by V0. G effective is I by V0 considering V in equal to 0, that we already have considered. So your GO effective is I by V0. So your I value is, you can replace your I value from here, which will be GO2, or just simply put this V0 in this side. So you will have I by V0, which is equal to G02 divided by the entire term here, which came here. Okay, do some simple algebra, some simple simplification. You will find the term is similar to this. So your RO effective is this value. Now I did a further simplification, just divided this term with each of these. So you got 1 by G01, 1 by G02 as Gm2 plus this one, this value. So what is this? This is RO1, this is RO2, and finally you have 1 by G01, which I replaced as R01, and I kept this term as it is. What is the purpose of keeping this term as it is? What is this exactly? This is your Gm R0, and what is this value? Is equal to your beta, that means gain. So in this case we will write it as AV2. This is your gain, right? So your resistances is R01, R02, R01, and finally your AV2, gain for the MOSFET 2. If you take R01 common, so your R01 is 1 plus AV2. Now what is your effective gain in here? Your effective gain in here would be minus Gm effective R0 effective, right? This is what the value, this is what the expression of a gain. Now put your Gm effective. I already have calculated Gm effective is equal to Gm1, the Gm of your M1. What is M1? This is your M1. So you got your Gm effective previously, just replace it Gm1, and RO effective is here, right? Now just multiply Gm with every term, so you'll find Gm1 RO2 is equal to, for a identical transistors, if your transistors both the M1 and M2 are identical, your Gm1 value will be equal to Gm2. So Gm1 RO2 can be written as Gm2 RO2. If both of them are identical, both the values will be equal. So this value is your AV2, Then you have GM1 R01, which is AV1. So AV1 plus AV1 into AV2. This is your expression. Now again, if both the transistors are identical, you will find the individual gains are also same. So you consider AV1 is equal to AV2. So replace AV1 is equal to AV2 here. You will find 2AV plus AV1 whole square. Now for generally the AV1 values are high, so you can consider it's more or less equal to AV1 whole square, right? It is more or less equal to AV1 whole square. So what did we get? The gain of your cascode amplifier circuit is equal to the square of the gain of your M1. This is what we have just seen. So what is your gain? This bandwidth. If I look at gain bandwidth term, we already have seen the gain. What is your bandwidth? GM effective by seen. Now GM effective is equal to GM1. So if I don't use cascode circuit and use only GM1, your bandwidth has not changed. Your bandwidth is fixed. If you see here, if I use only this, then also what bandwidth I am supposed to get. If I use this cascode circuit, I am getting the same bandwidth. So I am not losing the bandwidth. However, just now we have seen that the effective gain is now square of this gain, increased like anything without losing bandwidth. Previously there was a figure of merit, gain bandwidth product should be constant. So if you increase your gain, you definitely will lose your bandwidth. What I've seen right now, your gain is currently AB effective is currently square of the gain of M1 as I've seen here, but your bandwidth is fixed. So we have came out of that constraint. Gain bandwidth product is constant. Currently it is, we already have overcome that particular constraint using the cascode circuit. So this is what cascode circuit is all about. So generalizing the whole thing, your gain of cascode will be square of gain of the single stage, right? So gain enhanced but bandwidth is same. This is what we wanted and we achieved, right? So that's why we use the cascode circuit. So what does that mean? You have A1 and A2. If both of them are equal, say A1 and A1, then you will get A1 square. For A1, A2, probably you will get A1 into A2, right? Probably means you will get A1 into A2. Just now we have seen, considering different AV1 and AV2, we have just seen. Alright.